Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Razak at CMtrading. Today is May 12, 2021, and today is Wednesday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, quiet after the storm. The markets, after a massive drop, seem like they're consolidating at this area, but we may see some further action. We're going to take a look at that in just a second. Looking at the major economic events of the day, just one event coming out of the United States, monthly CPI number coming out at 3:30 South African time. And as we look at the various markets, starting out with the currencies pretty much unchanged, consolidating and unchanged. If we look at the indices, the Nasdaq consolidates, the Dow Jones trades lower, finally plays a catch up to the Nasdaq. And as we look at the commodities, pretty much unchanged as well. And looking at the stocks, it's actually the flip side around, okay? It was the tech sector that really got beat up the worst, and now it's the one that is actually bouncing. And lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin rallies higher to that upper range. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So we're going to start here with the Eur Usd at a 1-hour chart, and you can see pretty much how much of a tight range we're at. Okay, where 121.70 is that upper range, and the lower range at 121.17. So we're in a 60 pip range right here as we're consolidating at that bottom of the range. Now, if we look at a longer time frame, okay, this is really important to check out. Okay, you could see that pretty much this is just a bull flag, okay, looking like a bull flag. So we may see it actually push higher, okay, if the markets turn around. Now, looking at the GBP USD, resilient, even though it sold off a little bit, and now actually bouncing, continuing to that 141.57-ish level. Looking at the Canadian dollar, also stronger versus the dollar. If you look at a daily chart, you can see that. We got to jump to a weekly chart, okay, and that's what we've been looking at. And this candle is setting up a bar right there, okay? We're still right there. We haven't breached it, okay, at that 120-ish level, but once we breach it, you know, the bottom's out. Okay, I believe we'll go to even 115. Now jumping into gold and oil. First, gold. Not doing much here, okay? Just hanging out at this 1820-ish level, and oil also consolidating here at $65 a barrel as well. Now looking at the Dow Jones, this is where it got a little bit more interesting. After that massive rally to 35,000 on Monday, we've retraced over 1,000 points. 1,000 points in just a day. So that is typical in this type of environment. I do expect a short squeeze, okay, somewhere here at 34,115. Maybe we could rally to that midpoint of 34,500-ish level between that two areas there. Now looking at the Nasdaq, okay, consolidated right here at that 13,300-ish level, okay, as we sold off on the bottom side. Now when we look at the individual stocks, let's start at Amazon. Bouncing here, okay. What's interesting, Jeff Bezos actually selling some stock here, okay, which is kind of interesting when insiders sell. Okay, that's usually a indication that the market's going to go lower. So that could be the case, you know, but still, okay, it's still trading at that 32 and up on the day. If we look at Facebook, also bounced above that 298 after breaching that 300. And as we look, at Microsoft here, also bouncing as well. But when we look at the traditional stocks, the ones that were carrying us higher on Monday, they're actually sold off. JP Morgan, weak on the side, 158. And if we look at Alcoa, also retracing to 141 and relatively down on that trading session. Now lastly, looking at Bitcoin, after hitting that area, okay, of that 55,000, we're finally bouncing to 57,000, which is the upper range. Okay, so I do expect some resistance-ish at this area. So if you want to sell a little bit, I don't think that that's so unwarranted as it's hitting that upper range. So market is taking in the news. So, and lastly, okay, this is one more point I want to make, is the VIX. Okay, the VIX bounces, and I told you this would be the indicator whether or not the market's going to sell off. And sure enough, not just, you know, bounced, but it also gapped up here. Okay, so something to consider here. When you look at the VIX, you're expecting volatility and usually on the downside. This is Razak. I want to wish everybody a great trading day. Thank you.